Welcome to the question and answers presentation by Restore. My name is Khavar Nehal, and Restore is the brand name for our repairing hardware company. Restore is the acronym for refurbish, eco-conscious, save and secure, tech revival, own longevity, reliable repair, and ethical electronics. I like long names or long acronyms for the business brands. So the reason for making this presentation was that we are getting questions from customers. So I thought I would share the information and what goes on behind it. So we'll start off with one of the questions recently which came. This is a customer, they say, I want to apply new thermal paste on my QLED screen, CPU IC. So that was the actual question. And basically, it is maybe an assumption that something is wrong with the thermal paste on the QLED screen. And we will go into details to explain what goes on in the market. And the reason for making these videos is so you have an idea of what we do and what is going on and what the technologies and some of the electronics behind it. So when you use the word CPU, most likely they're talking about the largest integrated circuit, which is a chip on the TV screen. So there is a timing controller, integrated circuit. IC is the acronym for integrated circuit. So maybe that's what they're talking about. And generally, thermal pads are used instead of paste by the manufacturers. So if paste is rarely used, but mostly the manufacturers use thermal pads. So the recommended thing would be to use a thermal pad to replace a thermal pad rather than thermal paste to replace a thermal pad in case it is being used. So the reason for changing the thermal paste or thermal pad would require that there was heating near the largest chip. And another way to recognize it is that the TV will shut off after a certain amount of time because it's getting hot, and once it gets hot, it might shut off. Then there's visible sign of hardened thermal material. That means it's sort of like dried or stiff, not like a paste. And then you have confirmed high temperatures. This could be done through a thermal imaging camera or some other method if you know one. So usually, if you're talking about QLED screens, these are the 4 common problems that they can have. Power supply failure, the most common thing for almost all types of electronics. Basically, even in power supplies, usually the capacitors, and the capacitors fail generally, mostly also, when they are near higher temperature components. So a lot of the stuff is basically repairing capacitors. Then there's repairing ICs and other stuff. Then there are inside these screens or monitors, there is something called a backlight LED strip. That is the thing that actually provides the light from the back that bounces off the white background and then comes through from the front. So sometimes they go dark. So then you will see a very, very faint image, but you won't be able to see anything, but you will notice that you can see the screen, but it's very, very light. It's almost impossible to read, but you can see the screen. And then there is ribbon cable damage. This is actually the ribbon cables. There are cables that look like a ribbon. I'll include pictures in future videos. And then there is main board or logic fault. That means the whole circuit is gone kaput. So doing thermal maintenance, that means thermal paste or most probably thermal pads, would be done if overheating is confirmed as a root cause. The thermal pad is missing or missing totally hardened or totally degraded, and the TV or the monitor is out of warranty. This is important because if something is under warranty, it's better to, obviously it's the labor and repairing, all that stuff is already covered, so you should get the manufacturer to do it, especially if you have bought it in the same city and country where you're using it. Sometimes they might be imported. If it's a used imported item, obviously the warranty is not going to apply, and it's like many years old. But for new stuff, you got to check, make sure it's not in warranty. And then obviously you need to be a professional to do this, because if you do this without experience, there's very likely the electronics these days, they're very, very delicate, so you have to be careful in how you open them. And if it is under warranty, you should not open it, because if you're a third party and you're not covering the warranty, then you should not be opening it, because then the original manufacturer will not cover the warranty. These are the methods required which our professionals would follow. And then what I noticed was, like for example, you need the conducting paste. If you're using that, there's a good example. So I made another presentation and I'll record that soon regarding the types of pastes. That is also interesting. During the disassembly and assembly process, you have to take care of it, and this is based on experience. And they're not just these items that we need to be taken care of. There are many other things that our professionals are experienced in, which they do take care of those while they're repairing electronics. So for this example question, the answer would be to don't replace just the thermal paste unless you have actually identified the actual root cause. We recommend first identifying the root cause, and then we will decide, we'd recommend what kind of work is to be done on it. Also, a lot of the electronics like solar inverters, power inverters, and computers, or like in this case the TV, they do have hot components inside. And then if you're in a place like Karachi, it's pretty dusty, especially if you're towards the outside, or where in a room where the wind comes actually in. There's a lot of dust. So for example, in computers, you need, if they're been running, like desktops have been running for 6 months to 1 year, they definitely need to have a blower clean them out. If you don't do that within a year or so, they might start acting a bit like you might have a reboot or something like that. Similarly, your TV might be experiencing that kind of stuff, or the monitor is having that. So it's better to actually clean out the dust first, just to rule that out. So it might be that issue instead of a major issue. And our contact information, this is our website, remote-support.space. We have another one, atrc.net.pk. And for emails, the email is repairs@atrc.net.pk. And since everybody wants to use WhatsApp these days, it is 92343270292. Currently, our services are available in Karachi, and remote services are available globally. You can check out this website to see all the remote services we have. We prioritize safe, effective repairs, not jugars or guessworks or cracks or hacks. We are Restore. We aim to refurbish, revive, and respect old hardware. The other companies that we have which are doing important, useful stuff, you can check out, or you can contact us and we'll tell you what they do. There's ATRC, Scrutinizer for cameras, remote support, heavy data backup specialized in backup systems. Invisible Networks is related to networking. Muftasoft is a spatial company designed for open source support. Training company does training. Stratus is a drone training company aimed towards FAA type licenses. We have Tavanai Energy for energy projects like solar projects and a lot of other projects related to energy. Metamorphic is a marble export business from Pakistan. Karachi Computer Services, Dubai Computer Services, this is an older one. And Cyber Coffee Freshwater is actually specialized in providing services and consultancy for clean water, and different types of clean water, different qualities, and how they can be made at reasonable prices, and designing systems to provide clean water. Get Real Estate, this is a work in progress. It's actually a real estate, sort of like a website, but with e-commerce for supporting real estate. And Restore, as I mentioned, is this one, which is now focused on hardware repairs, and especially for electronics. Thank you for taking your time to see this presentation. I hope you contact us to get some idea of how we can serve you better. and hope to be of use for you in the near future.